Out here in Goose Creek State Park. Go kayak fishing, test my luck, see what I can catch. Really liking this new kayak. It's the Wilderness Equipment Tarpon 100, and I really like it. It's very light. It tracks straight. What a beautiful day out here on the Pamlico River. Looks like someone's decoy washed up right over there. I'm gonna grab it. Somebody's decoy broke loose. Go. Seat on this kayak is awesome. It's probably the best kayak seat I've ever experienced. I really like it. The Malibu 2 ocean kayak, I thought those seats were pretty good, but they fell apart in no time. But this seat's really nice. And I didn't pay anything for this kayak. Someone gave it to me. A friend of mine, he bought a new kayak and said I could have this one if I wanted it. So I went and picked it up. Man, I'm glad I did. This is my favorite kayak. I love it. It's got these two little storage compartments. One here and one up front. It's got a nice size trunk on it. Keep all my gear back there. It's nice. I'm gonna head further back in this creek. Try to get out of this wind a little bit. Some ducks up here hanging out. Man, that is a pretty bird. Got him. Got him go. The bottom is just way too, there's too much growth on the bottom back here. My jig keeps getting stuck. And it's got loads of stuff on it, which that's not really the bottom I'm looking for. I'm looking for a sandy bottom. I'm gonna go up here on this beach, fish from this beach for a little while. Try my luck out here in the open water. For anyone that wants to come and visit this place for kayaking or fishing or camping or whatever you're into, this is part of Goose Creek State Park in North Carolina. It's a really beautiful place. It stays filled up. The campsites are always booked in the summertime. It's really hard to find a spot. So you probably have to book a few weeks in advance. In the winter months, January and February are not too full. Most of the time it's pretty sparse. But early spring all the way to late fall is pretty tough to get a camping spot out here. And that happened relatively recently. Around 2018, 2019 is when COVID was a thing. It started to become very difficult to find a spot out here. I've been coming out to Goose Creek State Park since I was pretty young. I think I camped out here for the first time when I was 14. I'm 39 years old now. Back then a campsite was $8 a night. Now it's 15. But it's totally worth it. It's a beautiful place. There's a public beach down that way. It's really clean bottom. It's a pretty popular area. It is very scenic. There's a bunch of really old oak trees with branches hanging right over the water with Spanish moss growing all over them. It is a beautiful park. I'm really lucky to live right down the road from it. The wind is really starting to pick up. It can get pretty dangerous out here. I lived on a sailboat out here for 3 years and went through some really rough storms out here in the Pamlico River. I've seen 5-foot waves out here. I'm gonna paddle over to that beach real quick and I'm gonna hang out there for a while and see if I can catch a fish. A bunch of crab pots got washed up. See 5 of them. Well, they got the corks in them too. That means they were stacking them up or something. They could have got blown off the boat. Okay, that was a bad idea. I don't have a swivel up there and my line has totally gotten all kinds of twisted up. Okay, that only took 15 minutes. I think that may have brought my fishing expedition to an end. Oh, that explains why it got so twisted. It was catching a bunch of weeds. All right, back to the campsite. When you're in a kayak, don't ignore these danger signs. It's they put those up when there's submerged objects. And this is like an old pier system. And the water temperature is about 40 degrees right now, so it's definitely fatal. I'm really close to the land, so you could probably swim if you can swim. So the point is, just because you're in a kayak doesn't mean that stuff like that is not a danger to you, because if that was just barely under the surface of the water and you're making headway at a nice pace, you hit something like that, it can flip you over into the frigid water. So don't ignore those danger signs just because you're in a kayak.
Out here in the scenic beauty of Beaufort County, North Carolina, Jonathan paddled towards the shore to once again reunite with his campsite. Now safely ashore, he begins to assess his food situation, because he is quite peckish.
How nice of them to have a place to put your kayak. Hey, how y'all doing?
That's awesome that you put that up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keeps me from having to carry it so far. It's awesome. I love it. You guys from around here?
We're from Greenville.
Greenville, okay, yeah. Local enough?
Local enough to come up.
Yeah. There's some beautiful spots in Greenville too.
Oh yeah, Tar River.
Oh yeah. Enjoy your day. Here's where I slept last night. Set the tarp up on the ground and used a cot instead of a hammock. There it is. Food. Let's see what's for lunch. Got some chips, kidney beans, potatoes, and onion. Sounds good to me. The temperature is dropping out there quite a bit, and the wind is picking up. So I'm just gonna cook some beans in here. Forgot I had some cheese. Cheese and beans. After I eat, I think I'll go for a hike. Got up to 65 today, and tonight is supposed to get down to 36 degrees. So I don't know if I'm going to set up the hammock or just stay in here. This cot is not very comfortable, but a hammock is a little more cold. We'll see. We're gonna take a walk and see what I can find. Need to scrounge up some tinder. This Spanish moss does not make good tinder. People might think it does because it's hanging in a tree, but this plant has adapted to draw its moisture from the atmosphere, so it's actually very wet. Here we go, some dry twigs. As always, the temperature is dropping fast, and we're talking about, it was 65 earlier, and now it's already in the 40s. So you always want to try to make sure you have contingencies for the weather. Like, even though it feels good outside, you need to bring a jacket or something with you, because I mean, we're talking a 30-degree difference or more in just a few hours, and if you're not ready for that, if that catches you off guard, it could turn into a really bad situation very quick. This is going to make an excellent bird nest. There's some really dry cattail leaves. We'll keep looking around, see what else we can find. So this piece of pine is falling out of the tree, and I was looking at it, and it looks like there's a piece of core right here that might have some resin in it, like light or not. Yeah, definitely. So we'll take some of that. Oh yeah, it's fat wood. I'm after some of this grass over here. Just saw back here behind this bathhouse, there's some palmetto. See if there's anything I can use. Definitely don't want to harvest anything live in any state park. No. Maybe this little piece right here. And there's a piece. This stuff is great for making fire. Some dog fennel tops. This fluffy stuff makes pretty good tinder. Got a palmetto spindle and a yucca fireboard. Two of my favorite materials. Found a big piece of lighter knot. Plenty of tinder. Well, I think that's about it for the day. Probably whittle or read till it's time for bed. This is Southwoods Outdoor Adventure. My name's Jonathan. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.